Generative Fill has a problem. Every time you try to fill a larger area and you fill it with Generative Fill or Generative Expand, there is a limitation to it. Even though it looks good from this distance, as soon as you zoom in, you can clearly tell that this is the real area and this area is generated. There's a stark quality difference. Similarly, let's take a look at this side. This is the real area and there's a stark quality difference between right and left. Because Generative Fill has a resolution limit. And we tried to fix this a couple years ago by creating a plugin, and inside of that we added a free feature that allowed you to automatically fill all the areas one box at a time. So that way it only filled a 1000 by 1000 pixel box one at a time, giving you absolute full resolution. But that was a very long time ago. Since then, Adobe's models have changed. They started charging credits and a lot of other things changed. So in this video, I have an update for you that allows you to do it better, higher quality, and also an option so that it doesn't consume credits towards the end of the video. So without any further ado, let's get started. Here with the first example, you can download any of the assets shown in this video by checking the links in the description. In this case, we are going to press C, and this time let's expand it. I have chosen 16:9 aspect ratio. Let's expand it this way, and you want to make sure transparent is checked. Hit enter. Let it be transparent for now. Once you have installed the plugin, it should show up inside of the plugins tab. I already have it, plugins, PiXimperfect Compositing. Just open that up. And if you don't see it this way, it should be inside of the High-Res Generative Fill section. Open that up. And keep in mind, High-Res Gen Fill is an absolutely free feature. And if you want an instructional video on how to download and install the plugin, I'm going to leave a link in the description as well. Alternatively, you can also directly download it from Adobe. It's Adobe approved. So you can go to your Creative Cloud desktop app, go to Stock and Marketplace, and then just go to Plugins at the top and search for PiXimperfect. And you should find PiXimperfect Compositing right there. Now inside of the new High-Res Gen Fill section in this version, you have a new drop-down that allows you to choose the model. And we're going to talk about PiXHack later. Let us choose Firefly Fill and Expand. And then you choose what size box you want. If you pick 500, it will create a 500 by 500 pixel box and fill it one at a time. It will take longer time, but the quality could be higher. If you choose 2000, it will create a bigger box one at a time. It will be faster, but the quality will be slightly lower if you don't choose the right model. Let's go with the bigger box. The new model is high resolution anyway, and then you click on this button. This fills the transparent areas. Now it's going to take its time to fill these up one by one with a maximum of 2000 by 2000 pixel boxes, giving you absolute highest quality possible. But of course, if you want higher quality, you can choose a smaller box. But then again, you don't have that much time for this tutorial. Now keep in mind, these days, Adobe has started to send you warnings if you do apply and do generate too much of Generative Fill. It asks you to slow down. What the heck? Hit OK and start doing the same process again. Open up the plugin and click on that one more time. It's not an issue. Since we did it in parts because Adobe started showing those warnings because of their server issues or some kind of blocking they want to do or whatever, it has created many layers. Otherwise, it groups everything. In this case, we'll select the first one, hold the Shift key, click on the last generation, and then press Ctrl or Command G for a cleaner result. Here's the before. Here's the after. Now let's compare it with one generation. So this is a generation that I had done at one sweep, all one generation. Let's take a look at the results. So on the right, you can clearly tell that this is low resolution, this is generated, and this is the real one. But apart from that, if you just compare the edges, here's one generation, look at the quality. Here's many generations, so much more cleaner. Again, one generation, you can clearly tell, and many generations, so much better. Now, many of you might be wondering, this might start eating credits really fast. There's a yes and a no and a solution for this as well. According to Adobe, and this may change anytime, please don't take my word for it. If you are on the Creative Cloud Pro plan, you have unlimited access to standard generations. Now, what is standard generations? I wish Adobe made it simpler, but I found out for you. Standard generations are features like Generative Fill. So Generative Fill is unlimited for you if you are on the Creative Cloud Pro plan. But if you're not on the Pro plan, or maybe you're in the single app or photography plan, then you do get a set number of credits and it will consume credits. By the way, Pro plans are insanely heavily discounted, especially for students. So if you're a student, I highly recommend that you check that out. I'll leave a link to their student program or offer in the description. But let's say you are on the photography plan and you don't want to use credits. What do? And this is where the trick becomes helpful. We know that if we make a selection in Photoshop and we try to remove that by using the remove button inside of the contextual taskbar. By the way, if you're not seeing the contextual taskbar, right click outside the canvas and click on show contextual taskbar. If you click here, it uses generative AI to fill it, but it does not use generative credits. Now I know it's an AI made for removing things, but it's still generative AI. And it's still good quality, not the best, but good quality. So why can't we try to use this instead when it's this good? Before, after. And that's what we actually did with the plugin. In this case, let's say we have all these transparent areas we need to fill. So we go back to our PiXimperfect Compositing Plugin, and this time in the model section, we choose PiXHack. And that's what it does. It uses the remove generative AI to fill those areas. And we are going to click here. If you have a selection you want to fill, you can click on this button. Now it uses the remove functions generative AI to fill all of those areas. But keep in mind, Adobe can be slow here. Because it's unlimited, because it does not consume credits, I think what Adobe is doing is that on the back end, they're making this slow. And again, it's just an assumption. Because I think my internet is relatively fast, it should not be an issue. But still, now sometimes Adobe can have their own server issues. When it does happen, open the plugin back in and then click on that button again. And it should start working again. Maybe it is the time when I'm doing it, it's an Adobe thing and I have no control over that. Now we're gonna make a group of all of these things, selecting the first one, holding the shift key, selecting the last one there, Control or Command G. Now it is not the best quality, but it does not consume credits. And from this distance, you absolutely cannot tell. Even if you zoom in, it's pretty good. Before, after. Even if you zoom in further, even at this distance, it is kinda hard to tell. Let's look right here. Before, after. You start to see some patterns there. And only when you zoom in too hard, then you start to see the difference between the originality here and this kind of AI-ish pattern. Similarly, on the other end, here's the before, here's the after, and only when we turned it on, we can tell that this was generated. It's actually a pretty incredible alternative if you don't want to pay in credits. Now, this plugin doesn't only work with extensions, but filling areas. Let's say you want to turn this into a pattern, but you cannot because it's not seamless. If you go to View, Pattern Preview, it gives you a preview of how it would look like if it were a pattern, and you can clearly see all the edges. That's a problem. How do we fix that? We go to View, turn off Pattern Preview first, and we offset this by going to Filter, Other, Offset. We offset it in a way so that we can see the edges. If the horizontal and vertical are at 0 right now, this is the image exactly the way it is. The more we offset, it starts to move. See, the edge shows up in the middle. Similarly for the vertical, the edge needs to show up somewhere in the middle. Hit OK. Now all we need to do is to make adjustments so that these edges go away. So in the same fashion, first of all, let's unlock the background layer so that we can make it transparent. Then select the lasso tool and just make a selection around these lines. Keep it very, very random. Once you have it in place, you can either press the delete key and make it transparent or fill the selection directly. Inside of the compositing plugin, you have this button that fills the selection. This time, let us choose our Firefly Fill and Expand and click on this button. 2000 is fine, and let's fill that area. It automatically makes that transparent for you and starts to fill it one by one. Since we chose a 2000 by 2000 box, it is a relatively smaller image. It just filled it very, very quickly. Now again, let's go to View, Pattern Preview. See if you can see any seams or edges. And so far, it is pretty good. There might be some discrepancies around some edges. We can easily fix that later by offsetting again, but overall, this is pretty amazing. Look at that. But keep in mind, it's still not complete. We have another tutorial on that you can watch later. Here in this case, I've made a selection of everyone in the background. We are going to open that back again, and we can actually delete it. By the way, the background layer was unlocked. Control or Command D, and if you were to click on this, it will fill up all the transparent areas. And obviously, if you want a higher quality, you can always go for a smaller box, maybe 1000 by 1000 pixels. Adobe's again started playing their own game, but we are not to stop here. I'm gonna open that back again and click on this one more time. Finally, all of them gone for good. Here is the before, and here is the after. There are two problems with this plugin, and I'm calling it out myself. Number one, you cannot type in a prompt. And even if you were able to type in a prompt, and even if we added a feature to do that, it would be weird here because as it generates one box at a time, and I type in, let's say, a cloud, it's going to generate a cloud in every single box, and it can end up creating something weird. The number two problem is from Adobe's side. When Adobe is having a server issue, or they think you're doing it too much, they're going to show you messages like this and halt the process. Not a problem, we have added a way to continue anyway. So that's pretty much it about this video. I hope this tool helps you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe. Ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other future tips, tricks, or tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.